Hey guys, welcome back to our series where we bring in tutoring agencies that we work with and share the success stories with you. Last time around, we had a really fun conversation with Ingrid Motes from Tampa Bay Test Prep, and today I have a very special guest. I am thrilled to be chatting with Orlando Simon, one of the co-founders of Clarendon Tutors. Orlando will be sharing his incredible journey of building a powerhouse team of over 400 tutors, how TutorCruncher helped them grow as a business, and also give us a little sneak peek into how they plan to scale further. So let's dive straight in. Just to begin with, because obviously I want all of our viewers to know a little bit about you, about your background, about Clarendon. So let's just start by sharing a little bit more about what you do and what led you to starting Clarendon Tutors.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think probably what I'll do then is go back to when I started tutoring, which was in 2009, so quite a while ago now. I was working in creative industries, so theatre and film, and not being paid. And so I started tutoring because of that, and I tutored for maybe four or five of London's most notable agencies. I'm sure most of our viewers will know their names. And I think a real turning point for me was when I tutored for a family in the south of Spain one summer. And it was a really transformative experience for me in a number of ways. And I think one was forming this very close bond with this family who I've remained in touch with, and we still help the younger brother, who must have been about 6 at the time, and he's now at university, and we still support him as and when needed, and I'm still in touch with the family. But I think more than anything, I took on a student who was really low on confidence, really struggling, had immense pressure on him to get to a certain school, and to be able to help him cope with that pressure, to be able to help improve him academically, and to be able to help him improve in confidence was such a rewarding thing to have done, such a challenging thing, but like immensely fulfilling experience, that I think at that moment I thought, well, actually, no, this is the thing that I love, and not the sort of creative industries. I want to be involved in education. So that was a huge moment for me. And then a couple of years later, I founded Clarendon with my co-founder Henry, who I'd actually been at school with. He'd worked in Eton House, the Manor, and a school called John Keble. So he had a really great knowledge of the school sort of landscape in London. And I had by that stage done many hours of tutoring and had worked for a few other London agencies. And yeah, I was struck by some of the London agencies, I should say, not all of them, but some of them, the way they were run. I was not really interviewed. I was not DBS checked. They didn't really check up on anything about me, and they just put me in front of clients without really giving me much info on the clients. And I thought, this can't be the way that things are done. We must be able to do better. And I'm sure not all London agencies are like that, but certainly at the time we co-founded Clarendon, that was the case in my experience, and we wanted to do something better.
What would you say in terms of when you started Clarendon with Henry, of course?
Mhm.
What were some of the challenges that you faced when you first started the company?
I think the biggest challenge, and it's so core to a tutoring agency, it sounds almost too obvious to mention, but you need really great tutors to represent, to put in front of families. That was our challenge. We started out just me and Henry, and when we started, we were the tutors for our first few families, and as we grew, we needed more tutors, and we did things like go to Oxford and Cambridge and like stick up posters on JCR poster boards, and for some reason we were desperate to get as many Oxbridge grads as possible, and actually looking back on it, that's not the right approach necessarily. We were so taken with the idea that all of our tutors would have gone to these very prestigious institutions, and many of them still do. But actually, now we realize that what you're looking for is not necessarily the institutions, it's the educator. It's someone who takes like real pride and has real enthusiasm for improving a student, for not necessarily just taking someone who's going to go to Oxbridge anyway, or turning a grade from an 8 to a 9 or an A to an A star, but someone who can take a student who's really struggling and has the patience and the commitment to making them better, and they can come from anywhere. So to answer your question, I would say the challenge was a long one, and it was just working out exactly what it was we were looking for and the type of tutor that we wanted to represent. And I think we only really got there with years of experience, actually, and it's still something we're trying to get better at and trying to improve.
Yeah, and how many tutors do you have on your team currently?
We now have around about 400. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So from the early days of just Henry and I to now 400. And yeah, I've got to say, it's one of the things I'm most proud of, because it's not just 400 names, it's not just 400 graduates finding their first job. It's 400 like really good educators, people who really know their subject, people who have real passion, and people who want to make others better. We have probably about, of those 400, I would say maybe 150, 160 are teachers or ex-teachers, which has made a difference to us as well. So yeah, it's we're very proud of our roster.
Right. So, what does the screening process look like? How do you screen all of your tutors at Clarendon?
Above all else, the first call is, why do you want to tutor? And we have in the office like a really clear red flag. If anyone says, I'm looking to earn some money on the side whilst I do something else, we're looking for someone who really enjoys the journey of education, who wants to help students and who gets a thrill out of that. So that's the initial call. Then we have the interview, which is they will present us a lesson plan. So we give them quite a free rein. They can choose the subject, the level, the topic, the exam board, and they have to structure a lesson. They choose a learning objective or a couple of learning objectives and structure a lesson to fulfill those learning objectives. And then the third part is we built our own training platform. I don't know if any other agencies do this. I know that some companies offer it, but we wanted to produce our own training platform so that every one of our tutors has done and passed a specific Clarendon training that covers various modules, and they need to score 90% on all of the training modules to advance.
Yeah, and this is the first time I'm hearing about something like this, having a training program for your tutors, because I've spoken to a lot of tutoring agencies and they're not doing that at the moment. So I guess this is very unique.
I was really struck by the amount of agencies I saw. So as I said, I worked for 4 or 5 of them. One of them made me do a group interview where maybe I was asked one question. And I know that that probably isn't the case anymore. This was back in perhaps the more Wild West days of tutoring. But I was just like, we need to, like, we have great minds. We have people who really want to educate. We have people with great experience. And even the teachers, maybe you've taught for 30 years in a classroom, but have you done one-on-one tutoring? Have you tutored someone online? Have you prepared someone for one of these schools entrance tests? So we needed to give our tutors a framework, and yeah, we're really pleased that we've done that. It's a really important part of how we operate.
That is very cool. That's very cool. And what would you say sets Clarendon Tutors apart from other agencies out there? I know you've already talked about a few different things, but is there anything else that comes to mind?
Yeah, I would say that we have a real focus on soft skills. So it's fantastic and something we take great pride in to help kids into various universities or schools, or bringing them up to a 9 or an A star, whatever it may be. That's a really fulfilling and rewarding part of our business. But I also know that we can tutor up a student to the hilt to take a politics A-level exam, and in 3 weeks' time they won't remember any of it, and it won't really matter because they will have got the grade that they were after and they will be on their way. So we really wanted to allow our tutors and help our tutors enhance and instill the type of soft skills that would be useful and important throughout a student's life. So we look at 4 in particular. So determination, drive, focus, organization, and curiosity as well. But we then have a module on our training platform that shows tutors how to try and instill these soft skills whilst doing your tutoring. So whilst you're preparing for whatever the GCSE or the A level or the entrance exam is, what are the sort of habits that I can try and instill in my tutee that will stand them in good stead for the rest of their life? And yeah, that's something we're really, really big on, and something we're really proud of as well.
Also, just building on that, what is the culture like at Clarendon? I know you talked a little bit about how you work with your tutors, but what are your relations like with your clients or your students?
Yeah, so I think, as I say, the culture of putting the student first. So I think that means helping the student achieve their own goals, but also in a lot of cases, and this is perhaps more relevant for older students, but allowing the student to pick their own goals as well, to be self-motivated. I think that's hugely important. So what do they want to get out of the tutoring? And this can be done also with younger students, even if you're doing the 7+ or the 8+ exams or the 11+. I think it's really important with those exams, and there's a lot of outside pressure. There's pressure in the playground, who's going to go to which school. There's pressure from parents or teachers or grandparents, and I think that can be quite overwhelming. So to help them see that actually I can use the tutoring to improve my own academics, to improve my own approach. I think tutoring shouldn't be it shouldn't be one of those things that just everyone has to have because I live in London, or because everyone else in the school is doing, or because it's expected. It should be a real privilege, and we only are interested in putting tutors in who can really, really make a difference and actually enhance someone's education. And so it's important for us in terms of building the relationships that the students feel that as well. And so we will help them frame this at the beginning of the journey with us. Maybe we'll meet them if they're a younger student, or if they're an older student, they might fill out a questionnaire for us where it lays out, what do I want to get out of the tutoring? What are my academic strengths and weaknesses? And that will help us tailor our approach for them. So I think putting the student first, and honesty and integrity as well. I think with parents, that they kind of respect that as well. I'm not going to tell a parent, if you do 10 hours a day of tutoring over the summer, you're going to get into some pools. It's simply not in our interest to do that, and it's not in the child's interest to do that. So, ultimately not in the parents' interest either. I think a childhood is a really precious thing and kind of needs to be protected. So we need to have real integrity and honesty in what we do. And I think that's how our culture affects our relationships with parents and with students as well.
No, love that. Love that. And obviously there's so much going on at Clarendon. And it's you've been around for how many years now?
We're in our 10th year now.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, talk me through some of the tools that you've used tools that have helped you scale your business and get to where you are today. I know you use TutorCruncher,
Yes.
which is very helpful, I hope. But yeah, what are some of the tools that you've used that have kind of helped you through this journey?
I thought about the scaling idea, and for us, it sounds an awful thing to say in some ways, but COVID was a real turning point in terms of the volume of our business, because we had operated solely as a London agency up until that point. Everything done in person, everything done within the M25. And COVID allowed us to work online, or showed us what was possible to work online. And we now operate in North America, Africa, Asia. We've got clients all over the world now. We have partnerships with schools abroad as well. So I'd say that would be the first one in terms of scaling. We also, as I mentioned, Right School Choice, which is our online assessments. We used to conduct all assessments in person over a number of sessions, because obviously for 11+, you need to assess a huge amount really these days. And we used to have to do that in 2 or 3 visits to a client's home. And that was quite a drawn out, protracted process. Now that can all be done online, which is fantastic. And then of course, yeah, TutorCruncher. We I would say without buttering you guys up too much, but that's definitely been something that's allowed us to scale our business. Yeah, I think now doing the numbers we do now, we would spend our entire month probably sending out invoices and reports, which TutorCruncher allows us to do. Not to mention how useful TutorCruncher has been with the sort of tightening of restrictions on employment agencies and how they operate in terms of split payments. So yeah, I'd say those three things have led to the scaling up of our business.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I think this is probably my final question for you. What's next for Clarendon Tutors now? Where do you see yourself going from here?
What's next? I mean, I think what I would love to do is continue to grow at the sort of steady pace we've been going. I don't want to overstretch ourselves. I don't want to ever have to put too much work on our tutors that we currently have, nor do I ever want to take on any tutors that I don't think are up to the Clarendon mark. So I see the growth being steady, and I think what I would love is to work more on how we can build soft skills, and I think I see our partnerships with academic institutions and perhaps scholarship on that area, so that we can be kind of a thought leader in how we can build these things. I don't know how the education landscape will change, but I know that there are big changes coming. I know that VAT is going to be introduced more than likely on independent schools. I know that some independent schools are maybe going to err away from this these entrance tests that are perhaps a bit too intensive. I don't, I'm much further down the line. Automation is going to change the job market that our students are going to be faced with tomorrow. Are they necessarily going to need to do these, to be brilliant in these verbal reasoning or non-verbal reasoning? Are they going to need to get all nines in their GCSEs, or are they going to need these adaptable soft skills that will allow them to face the sort of challenges that they'll be faced with in their lives in the job market globally? And I think that's something that inspires us and will continue to have us working hard.
Well, thank you so much, Orlando, for joining us today and sharing these amazing insights with us. I'm sure our viewers will find this very, very valuable. And for everyone watching, if you are a tutoring agency and you want to get in touch with us and be a part of our next video, then please reach out to me. There are more details down below. See you soon.